What is going on, guys? It is your friendly neighborhood Diamond back at it again with another video. Now, I try to upload 3 times a week, but some weeks I don't reach 3 videos. I do maybe 2 or 1, or some weeks I do 4, 5,
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
But to save yourself from all that confusion, just like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out. Look, I don't want you to miss out, alright? Because today we have something very special, and if you weren't subscribed or had notifications turned on, you probably wouldn't have found this video unless it showed up on your YouTube browsing page. But hey, listen, the other day, I asked you guys, yes, you guys, the subscribers, the buddies, everyone who hits that subscribe button, what do you think I should do the next truth of video? Okay, and when I say the truth of, it could be creepypasta, it could be the lost episode, it could be any of that, because honestly, maybe there is no truth, maybe the show already is pretty true. So anyways, I gave you guys 3 options: Garfield the cat, that cat that loves lasagna; Gravity Falls, that one show where it takes place like in a forest and there's 2 kids and there's a bunch of magical stuff, yeah, that one from Disney. And also I gave you guys the option for both, and guess what? Yeah, you guessed it. Gravity Falls won the poll with 59%. You probably didn't guess 59%, but you guessed that Gravity Falls was gonna win. Garfield only had 11%, and both people said 30%, which obviously means, and it's telling me, that you guys want Gravity Falls. So today we are reading the internet's creepypasta of Gravity Falls. So get your popcorn, kick back, and make sure you go in the comment section and say something like Sarah Garza said here right when the video started with the jump scare: "I fell off my bed." I love comments like this. It lets me know that this is actually working. But all that aside, play the intro. Let me start by saying that I love Gravity Falls, but I'm not sure I can give it another chance after I saw this lost episode. I was walking through the street when I saw an old scratched up disc. I picked it up and in blue Sharpie it read, "Gravity Falls Lost Episode. Do not watch." I thought, I haven't watched Gravity Falls in a while, so I brought it home and put it in my player. The clip before the theme tune had Seuss in his room, playing a video game on his computer. Then a hand raised up behind him with a knife. Then it plunged into his shoulder. Seuss's body dropped to the floor, lifeless. I was horrified by this and tried to leave, but it was locked from the outside. I was forced to watch this. I sat back down and continued watching. The theme tune was slowed down and the backwards message at the end was still backwards, but it sounded different. At the end of this lost episode, I translated it, and it turned out to say, "They are all dead." When the theme tune was finished, it showed Dipper walking towards the mystery shack. When he entered, Grunkle Stan was at the table reading the newspaper. "Hey, Dipper," he greeted. "How are—" He was interrupted by a knife going right through his head. I was terrified by this, but I kept watching. Dipper then went to the basement where Ford was. "Hello, Dipper," he greeted. Dipper said nothing, but threw his knife at Ford. Ford dodged it and grabbed his ray gun. "I don't know who you are or what you've done with my great nephew, but I must kill you." Because I used to watch this all the time, I knew this was something Ford would not usually say. For the first time in the episode, Dipper spoke. "I'm no demon. I'm not possessed. I'm Dipper Pines, and I must kill you." Ford realized this was actually Dipper. Ford's hand trembled as he pulled the trigger. Dipper ducked, slid towards the wall where his knife was. He grabbed it and threw it at Ford again. Ford dodged, but the handle hit the wall and it bounced off and the blade hit Ford in the arm. Ford collapsed to the ground and gripped his arm. Dipper grabbed the machete on Ford's desk and sliced into his head. Ford's body flopped to the floor, lifeless. Dipper went upstairs with his new machete and the knife in his hand. He entered the attic and immediately threw his machete at Mabel. She screamed, dodged, and jumped out of the window. When she landed, she sprained her ankle, but she didn't care. She continued to run into the woods. When she knew that she lost Dipper, she called out for their old enemy, Bill Cipher. He appeared in a flash. "You ready to make a deal?" he said. No, my brother's insane and I need you to kill him or something." "Then I might make a deal with you." But as she finished her sentence, a machete flew past her head and hit Bill. "I'm invincible, but I'm dying. How is this possible?" he said as he died. Mabel began to run again, but she felt a cold hand grab her neck and a sword plunged through her chest. He dropped her body on the ground. Wendy and her family had heard about the killings on the news. Due to extreme examination of the murders, they knew that Wendy was next. They figured out the pattern. Workers at the Mystery Shack, Wendy and her family left Gravity Falls to go to California. They all rushed to the bus and got on. Wendy sent a text to her friends saying that they were going to California, and if they wanted to, they can join her, if they really pleased. This bit is a little confusing. She had a section on her text list called Friends. She had wrote the text and clicked send and all, but she forgot that Dipper was on there, and he knew where she was going. Dipper started to walk up the hill to Northwest Manor. He knocked on the door and a butler opened and let him in. As this butler was grateful that Dipper tried to save them from the old man lumberjack corduroy ghost. Dipper walked in and Mr. Northwest saw him and shook his hand and thanked him. But Dipper said nothing. When Mr. Northwest's back was turned, Dipper plunged his knife into his back. Mrs. Northwest came in when she heard Mr. Northwest's scream. Dipper then threw his machete at Mrs. Northwest's face and it killed her. Pacifica came in the room and started to cry when she saw her parents' dead bodies all over the floor. Dipper walked over to Pacifica and ripped the machete out of Mrs. Northwest's face and then stabbed Pacifica. Dipper escaped and got Wendy's text. He smirked and got on a bus to California. The GFPD had their best detective on the case, Sherlock Flomes, but they still didn't crack the case. The author says that was just an addition. It had no purpose. Wendy greeted her friends as they entered a house in California. Manly Dan, Marcus, Kevin, and Gus were outside the front. When Dipper arrived, he brutally murdered them. Wendy and her friends did not know this was Dipper because he had a hoodie covering his face. He walked in and Thompson ran up to him, but Dipper killed him. He then went up to Lee, Nate, and Tambry, and he slashed them all across the chest. Robbie tackled Dipper and started punching him. Dipper whispered to himself, "I always wanted to do this." He decapitated Robbie. He then walked over to Wendy and slashed at her, but she dodged. She then tried to punch Dipper, but he dodged and stabbed Wendy in the leg and arm. He then cut her arm. Wendy managed to gain the strength to punch Dipper off of her, but when she punched him, his hoodie went down, revealing his face, and Wendy was shocked. She stood there, frozen. Dipper took this opportunity, slid next to her, and grabbed her axe from her belt, and stabbed her right in the back with it. Dipper turned to the camera. "You did this, with your goddamn creepypastas." The credits then played. The code, when translated, read, "You're next." "Oh, that's so cliche," I said. But then, a small clip played above the credits. There was a hand reaching up from behind Sue's desk. Sue's then popped up, wearing a full suit of armor. "Dude, that was insane," he said. Then the episode finished. To this day, I have not cracked why this was made. The author says, in parentheses, "Sorry for no paragraphs. Wattpad was really weird today." And then, to be continued. Gravity Falls Creepypasta. Definitely real. Last updated, March 7th, 2018. Okay, so right away, I can't give this a great review. There was just a lot of killing, meaningless killing, and it really didn't make much sense. You know, you gotta have a story when it comes to horror. You can't have a murder for no reason. I mean, why was Dipper killing people? I don't know, because this author didn't really tell us. There was no real good reason. He said, I'm not a demon. I'm not possessed. This is really me, and that's okay. So creepy. But if he's not possessed and you don't act that way. And also, Mabel, she literally was trying to kill Dipper after he tried to kill her. But I mean, if you're brothers and sisters, and you got to try your best to at least keep each other alive, so I don't know why she would end up going to that one guy and asking him to kill Dipper, which really is messed up. You know, that's your brother right there. You would at least try to snap him out of it. You know, really weird, really bad. This gets 2 stars out of 10, which is really bad. Anyways, if you guys did enjoy this, let me know in the comments. Subscribe, like, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.